What's up, guys? Shauna here, licensed health coach, certified women's coaching specialist. I want to talk today a little bit about planning and systems. I did put out a post last week about the importance of developing an organized method to get something done because people don't normally fail. It's systems that do, and people have good intentions. You want to, eat better, you want to move more, all that jazz. But oftentimes what's overlooked is the requirement to develop a system so that you can actually sustain the habit you're trying to form. It doesn't just happen magically overnight because you want it to. You have to think things through. And this is a big part of our sessions at Infinity. A lot of people do like to default to, okay, let's just get a good workout in and, we'll call it a day. But there's so much value in taking the time to plan ahead, be one step ahead of what's going to be happening in the week, and account for what you need to do, when you need to do it, what are the barriers you could possibly, encounter, and all of the nitty gritty in terms of the details. Because if you don't plan, you're way more likely to fail, right? And there's just you just need so much of the details in order to be successful. You have to think about that. You have to account for those things. So you need a system, an organized method to get something done. I'm going to recap a few tips and ways to do this effectively. So stick with me. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to consider is mindfulness around your existing habits. So, what do you want to improve? This is going to look different for everybody. I would start with assessing some of the fundamentals, like, are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? How much movement are you getting in a day? How much are you eating out? Are you drinking, smoking? What are your habits right now? And where do you want to improve? And the only way you can do this effectively is if you actually, well, for one, are mindful about it, and then use a habit tracker to take a look at what's happening during the day. This is going to give you data. This is like really good to analyze. This is what we do at Infinity. But if you want to do it yourself, just get like a habit tracker and mark off, how much water are you getting in a day? How many steps are you getting in a day? Are you doing things for self-care? Are you exercising? All those things. And that can be a really good tool and a good starting point to allow you to connect the dots a little bit and for you to have a bit more visibility around the areas that you want to improve. Okay, so let's say you know the habits you want to improve and you are ready to make that commitment. Then you have to think about the planning piece of it. If you have good intentions and you want to exercise more, you can't just say, all right, next week I'm going to exercise more. You're not going to do it. You have to think about when are you going to do it, like who, what, where, when, why, what's your contingency plan? Does this suit your lifestyle? Like, is your household supportive and on board? There's so many things that you have to consider. And yes, there's going to be roadblocks. You're going to get stuck at work late one day. You got to, pick the kids up and there was delays. There's always going to be delays, right? You have to account for some of that stuff. If you use that as a reason just to give up, well, then you won't be successful because there's always going to be challenges. So it's also about learning how to navigate and pivot, adapt around the challenges. So when you are setting goals, they need to be SMART goals. I use this acronym all the time. It works personally, professionally. So SMART: be specific, be measurable. It's got to be attainable and realistic. It's got to be timely. So it can look like something like this. Instead of saying, I'm going to work out next week and be done with it. Okay, I'm committing to Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm going to work out from 6 a.m. to 6:30 before the rest of the house is up. I'm going to work out from home. These are the workouts I'm going to do. And that's the detail you want to be striving for. Again, without it, it's hard to follow through if you don't really know what you're doing. So you need to have a plan. It's got to be well thought out. Use that SMART acronym to help you because it is very helpful, and go from there. Okay, so let's say you're at the point where you've tracked your habits, you have some goals, you've set out what you need to do, but maybe you're still struggling. There's some other strategies you could try to make this a little bit easier for yourself. So there's a strategy called habit stacking, which essentially is attaching a new habit you want to build to an existing one, rather than just trying to plop it in there and expect it to happen. So what I mean by this is, let's say you are driving home from work. That is a habit. You drive home from work and you go home. You do that 5 days a week. So instead of driving home and then doing whatever you want to do and then trying to establish a new habit of going to the gym after you're home already, why don't you attach the new habit, going to the gym, with the existing habit, driving home from work, and you just stop at the gym on your way. So you're kind of combining the two. You could also say something like, all right, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes after I brush my teeth at night, like as you're settling into your bedtime routine. There's all sorts of different ways you can do it, but it does enhance your chance of success when you can attach a new habit to an existing one. Another strategy around forming habits would be you could try to replace a bad habit with a good habit. So, for example, I know myself and almost everyone, I'm sure, are notorious for evening snacking. And it's very common to try to, you want the carbs, right? You go for the carbs, that's where the chips come out, the cookies, portion control goes out the window. But you have this habit of snacking at night. So instead of giving that up cold turkey and saying, I'm not snacking, and then that's going to be hard and potentially just unrealistic, you could say to yourself, well, I'm still going to snack at night, but I'm going to make a more nutritious choice and limit yourself to like a source of protein and then some veggies and dip to replace the crackers or the cookies or the chips or whatever, right? And that's a way to do it as well that can help you build those habits up a little bit better. Okay, so the last thing that I will say is if you have tracked your habits, you've set some goals, you've been smart about setting those goals, and you've established a plan, you've tried some strategies, and still nothing's working, well, there is so much power in accountability. And that is why, many reasons, but this is one of the reasons why we do what we do at Infinity. Having an external support, hiring a health coach is such a good investment to keep you honest, to keep you consistent, to have that regular check-in, to have more guidance and solutions when you're struggling. So it's such a good investment. If you've tried everything and just nothing works on your own, there's so much power in that accountability alone, and you get so much more than that with our programs as well. So if you're interested in something like that, please visit winnipeghealthcoaching.com. I hope you found today's tips on finding a system that works for you helpful, and until next time.